this channel, and it goes by the name Samuel Onoside. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you for obviously becoming a bronze member for this channel, and you are hugely appreciated. And for everyone who believes that you want to support this channel, you can as well become what we call a member of the Rokani Media Football. Welcome to this channel. Guys, having close to 20 people watching in through on this live is really very incredible, and I'm sorry for being late. And I'm finally here. I'm not gonna hate to forsake you, but all I want to let you know is simple, that I really had a very bad day. Not a bad day, but a very, very, very hard day that never really allowed me to come in through and really put in the required shift altogether. But finally, I'm here to talk to you and really discuss a lot about you into the mix. Rokani David is my name, and don't forget to obviously subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a day. Remember, we are powered by... Before we go into who really sponsors this video, let's obviously talk about the stories that are in line to be discussed in here onto the Rokani Media Football. One, Mikel Merino to Arsenal. He has been spared by Sociedad ahead of his Arsenal transfer, meaning that there is something important for us to obviously get to know about this sparing. Why have they gonna hate to spare him into this current situation? And we're gonna be talking about Kingsley Coman nearing his Bayern exit. And lastly, King Kai being acknowledged by the manager of Arsenal on how he came in through and obviously looked well when Arsenal was really annihilating the side of Bayern Leverkusen by 4-1. So let's see close to 300 likes much of this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Good morning, Moses. Good morning, Moses. I think you thought that I was not gonna come, right? But I'm gonna hate to come, right? And thank you, Samuel, for becoming a member of this channel. You can as well become a member of this channel by going to where you see the join button and join. After joining, the rest will be history into the making. Now, let's obviously thank God for the gift of life, the Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum. And you guys, I'm really excited to obviously be talking to you. I think I last talked to you live when Arsenal had gone ahead to beat Leverkusen by 4-1, and the rest have been really limited recordings, but I'm here. Richie Ford, thank you for obviously watching into this channel. Babuglia Paul, morning, my mate. How are you? And hope everything is really moving on well. And let's obviously talk Mikel Merino. This story that I'm here to obviously broadcast to you or really discuss with you was really broadcasted yesterday. I think it was on Thursday, right? On Thursday. And after it being broadcasted on Thursday, get what happened? It really went ahead to really attract lots of reactions from different people. Fabrizio Romano said Martin Zubimendi has been called up for Real Sociedad next game, while Liverpool try to convince him. Mikel Merino has not been called up as Arsenal talks are still ongoing, advanced but with deal structure / payment terms to clarify. Now, let me tell you that Real Sociedad is really having a game to play, right? And the man that is being linked to Liverpool, that is he's known as, oh my God, he's known as what's his name? He's known as Zubimendi, right? Has been called for, and the player for Real Sociedad, known as Mikel Merino, who is big link to Arsenal, hasn't gone ahead to be called for to come in and obviously play a very huge part into the beautiful game of football that they're really just to play. And by the way, they had to play game against Union Berlin, but I don't know why it never really went ahead to happen. And on the 18th of August, they are going to be playing Rayo Vallecano. You get? Meaning that he had been called to play against Union Berlin, but the player called Merino had not gone ahead to be called upon to obviously put in the required shift altogether. And finally, that shows you that there is something huge and important to note about this deal of Mikel Merino, because the moment you are really spared and really excluded from what we call the team that is supposed to be doing the job, that means they note it that they don't want to see you get an injury, as Mikel Merino. Remember on Monday, he returned at the training ground of a team called he returned the training ground of a team called Real Sociedad with the likes of Zubimendi. But to show you that the deal is so much close to him joining Arsenal, this is the best example that Arsenal have come up and obviously put in a very big shift to see to it that everything really goes on as to plan. And I tell you what, it's really very energizing. To every Arsenal fan all over the world, what better uplift do you need? That this deal is really close, as Fabrizio is telling us that they are really trying to obviously come up and obviously agree on the structure of the deal with the side of Real Sociedad and Arsenal, meaning that they've gonna hit to agree on the fee. It's between 30 to 35 million euros, and then the structure is really the problem that Arsenal and Sociedad are really sorting out. But if you exclude him from playing a friendly, that means you don't want him to get injured. And if he really had like 2 years left on his contract, like you say, Zubimendi, it would have gonna hit to be okay for him to obviously come in through and play role into these games, because they would love to start off their season with him being physically fit. But knowing that he's left with just 1 year on his contract, the moment he gets injured, then they're going to be missing out on close to 30 million euros, and he'll be like, I'm going to walk away and play for any club next summer if at all you don't let me go. So I think Real Sociedad have gonna hate to do the right thing. The ideal outright thing has gonna hate to be done by these people, and guess what? It has gonna hate to obviously offer the best of the best into the mix. So that is what we are really getting in through from the side of Real Sociedad, right? From the side of Real Sociedad, right? And after getting that from the side of Real Sociedad, that is really a further confirmation that this deal is really going to happen. You understand? It's a deal that is set to happen. And I tell you, no one is really going to come up into the way to block it from happening, right? So, as it stands, Arsenal are really on the right track. When you look at the man known as Zubimendi, right? Zubimendi is one of those players that Arsenal is going to hit obviously want, and Liverpool is going to hit obviously get a yes from Zubimendi. And it shows you that maybe the side of Real Sociedad is not yet convinced that this guy is really going. And they're like, however much there is a buyout clause and Liverpool is really negotiating to obviously trigger it, we don't feel like it's the time for you to go, right? And you come and really play for the team, because for you are tied onto a longer contract than this guy, and we don't want you to leave, because losing 2 of your best midfielders in the coming last weeks of the summer transfer window will obviously be very hard to obviously get replaced. Because for Mikel Merino, the reason as to why it's very easy for him to be moved on, it's because Mikel Merino's replacement is going to have to be found, and he goes by names of Sola. He plays for PSG, and PSG are really looking at him, Manuel Ugarte, as surplus to requirement, as they've going to have to bring in João Neves and another player that is going to have to sign for them. Is it Pacucho or is it Pacho, the midfielder that is going to have to sign for the side of PSG. Now, if Sola has not been getting into the starting 11 of PSG, do you think he's really going to be getting into the starting 11 of PSG when they've going to have to get a replacement for him? The answer is no, meaning that Real Sociedad have already going to have to identify the replacement of this guy, and they would love to see to it that they don't have 2 new midfielders, like a set of new midfielders that are pivot that they always use, Merino and Zubimendi, and they thought that maybe they would fight hard to keep Zubimendi around here, and maybe the rest will be history. But it looks like that's not the case. And things are really moving out into direction, because Zubimendi is really finding himself into a position of I'm gonna leave. Thus, the departure of Merino is a show or a sign of no. It's a sign of no intention. No intention, no competition, because he believes that they would have gone maybe to keep him around here, and the rest is really gonna be history into the mix. So guys, thank you for that, and I'm here to obviously let you know that it's really gonna be happening that way. So for Mikel Merino to Arsenal, looks like Arsenal and Real Sociedad are very much on it, and they're like, we cannot obviously risk out a player that is going to be getting us that huge money. There is also a guy known, is it Nomad, who went to Atletico Madrid, you understand? So they're losing out on very many players, and I think the moment Zubimendi saw this happen, he said like, all right, looks like you people have gone here to lose ambition, and you're not having good ambitions to obviously get this going, and now we are obviously getting away with it, and we're not supposed to be here. And today, Fabrizio Romano, while on the court offside, he had something to say, and it really read, that he hasn't been called up, that on why Mikel Merino has not been called up. All the latest about Mikel Merino to Arsenal said he hasn't been called up for Real Sociedad's next game because they say that he's not 100% fit. But we know that transfer is behind this story because Mikel Merino has an agreement with Arsenal. The contract is already agreed. The player said yes. He knows that Mikel wants him. This is the reality. Arsenal have been closing in on a deal since last week, but they need to agree on on the payment structure, payment terms, so a work in progress. Now, when you hear that coming in through from a credible journalist, it shows you that it's Arsenal delaying this deal. Arsenal wants to agree or really get this deal done and dusted on their terms. They don't want this deal done and dusted on anybody's terms. You get? And that's why it's really taking long. And Arsenal really behaving so because they know to it that the player known as Mikel Merino is really having just now months left on his contract. Him into August, that means he's left with just 10 months onto his contract, and he can now sign a pre-contract in January to obviously join a different club altogether. You get? So that's why Arsenal really acting like, all right, this is the right thing for us to do, and obviously put in the required shift altogether. And I tell you, it's not gonna stop there. It's not gonna stop there because they really want to get this player in. But the player and the reason given for him being not called up for Real Sociedad's next game is because of him agreeing terms with the side of Arsenal, right? And I've gone ahead to see some people saying that he's not yet fit, and this is where you're asking yourself, how do these people think? That is it. How do they think? You know, how do they think? Because if you're talking about him not being fit, they've not been at Real Sociedad with a man known as Zubimendi, right? They've not been at that side with Zubimendi. So if you've not been there with Zubimendi, then why is Zubimendi called in? You get? Why is Zubimendi called in and Mikel Merino is left? The fact is, the player has not been called because he has been one of those that have gone ahead obviously put in a very beautiful shift in as far as leaving the side of Arsenal is concerned. He wants out. That's it. He wants out, and nothing is really going to stop him from obviously being that player that Arsenal really want. And Arsenal is really pushing hard to get this deal over the line and see to it that everything really comes to pass as anticipated, right? So Arsenal are really having this deal under their grip. You know, anything that is happening, it's obviously in favor of what Arsenal is really wanting to do. So I believe that a lot is going to be happening for the club of Arsenal after the Mikel Merino deal, and we anticipate that maybe by the end of this weekend we might hear a here we go, because they are taking close to a month to get this deal over the line. Yet they can really get this deal done and dusted and really go to another deal. And I was like, some people have come out and obviously went into the comment section and really told me that, who told you that Arsenal wanted to sign a player known as Pedro Neto? Guys, This was announced way back in 2022 by David Austin. After David Austin said it, Fabrizio confirmed it, but Arsenal never went in for the player. This time round, Pedro Neto is one of those players that are on the list of the right wingers that Arsenal want to bring in. And if Chelsea have gone ahead to sign the player and the medical is really going to be taking place in London, that shows you that it is really bad news for the side of Arsenal. That is it. It's really bad news because of the dilly-dallying they are doing on such deals. If Arsenal had gone ahead to complete the deal of Carafiori early enough, Merino, before they came into August, I believe, they would have gone ahead to be going on to the next deal. And let me warn you, Arsenal fans, I'm having something that I've gone ahead to think out of the box. It's not a given, but it might be this thing that is really happening. Maybe Arsenal have come to a compromise that they don't need very many players to sign, and they're like, we should take our time to sign these players because the moment you prolong a deal like of Carafiori, it gives you more time to really prolong a deal of Mikel Merino. And the moment you prolong the deal of Mikel Merino, that will obviously help you use 3 weeks to obviously negotiate a deal of a player. A deal of a player maybe called Jokares also, and so on and so forth, right? So I think that's the plan that Arsenal is really going on. You get? So we have to wait and see how that happens, but a lot is really going to be happening into the mix. Now, let me go into your comment sections and see what you guys really have to say. John Osipo, my brother Aradi, this is our time. I'm very happy with your updates, and God bless you. Watching you from Uganda, Soloroti. All right, thank you. Daniel Okuja, Komboni, yes, brother, good morning. Any update about Edin Ketia to Marcel? Yeah, Marcel is back, by the way. They want to obviously sign Edin Ketia. And this is music to ears of all Arsenal fans because you want this to happen, as it has been set as one, a parameter or a condition for Arsenal to bring in Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen or any centre forward. If at all this guy leaves, the moment Edin Ketia doesn't leave, then you people are not going to be getting in your striker that you want. And Arsenal is going to set that as a condition. And the moment that ultimatum is really met, then he will see Arsenal go in for centre forward. Moses says, good morning, Moses, from the Switzerland of Africa. Then Richie Fraud, you are doing the best you can, keep it up. All right, thank you. Babulia Paul, morning to you, morning, my brother. Then Adesola, Adebanjo, good morning, David. What's going on with Edin Ketia and Gyökeres? Now, it's a domino. It's a domino effect. It's a two-way traffic. The moment you see Edin Ketia walk out, get ready to see Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen coming in at the club of Arsenal. That is it. That's why I'm calling it a domino. Right? Brian Walter, good to find you live, my man. All right, thank you. Then I'm having Seguya Muzafalu. Assalamu alaikum. Waramatullah wa barakatuh. That's what we say, right? Assalamu alaikum wa walamatula wa barakatuh. Oh guys, I need to rehearse, I need someone to obviously send me that voice note and really rehearse. I'm going to ask my Muslim friends and see what they really have to tell me to say. Now I'm having Muzafalu. When will Mikel Merino be signed? Guys, I believe this weekend is really going to be key, as I believe Arsenal wouldn't like to obviously go into their first Premier League game without Mikel Merino because they would want him to really get through the process, right? Then Kings Sichonga, I think this is a great deal for us. Yeah, Mikel Merino is really a very good signing for the club of Arsenal. And I tell you what, the moment it comes in through, a lot is really going to be happening, and it's really going to be causing a lot of he's really going to be causing a lot of noise into that midfield of Arsenal, because I really know what he brings on the table. I really know what he brings on the table, right? So that's why I'm telling you that anything that happens, be ready for the guy, because I know he is that good and he's really going to be doing the needful for the club of Arsenal. So that's why I'm here to obviously see to it that all goes on as planned for this side. You understand? So That's why I'm really happy to see to is that Mikel Merino is coming to Arsenal, because sometimes all you need is simple. All you need is a player like Mikel Merino to obviously get you that goal that will make you edge the side of Manchester City. You understand? That's what you need. That's what you need. So that Mikel Merino signing is really good. Then Richard Fenny. What is going on the side of Arsenal? Obviously, Arsenal want to obviously get in Mikel Merino, and they're also working on outgoings. Who? The guy called Nketiah Nketiah. Secondly, there is a guy called what's his name? Edin Nketiah, Reece Nelson are those players that Arsenal can really sell. Even Thomas Partey, final decision hasn't gone ahead to be made. So we might see a player leaving the club of Arsenal, right? 2 or 3 leaving. Even Aaron Ramsdale is still there, taking the tally to 4. Jakub Kiwior is one of those that is considered to leave the club of Arsenal because Inter Milan has huge interest into the player. What's going on the Arsenal side? What's going on onto the Arsenal side? Who is asking? He's Richard Fenny, I've told you that. Brian Walter, Arsenal should hasten up with the signings of players so they can be integrated into the team as fast as possible, because we have a different start of the season and we can't afford to start dropping points. All right, I really understand, but in so doing, nothing's really going to stop you. Nothing is going to stop Arsenal from competing for the trophy. I've already told you, and I've gone ahead to reiterate my words about Arsenal, that even if Mikel Merino and Carafiori start to play around the 10th game of the season or 15th game of the season, even if Jokaris is here, I tell you, it's not gonna stop Arsenal from really outperforming its opponents. That team that Arsenal has now come of age to obviously compete. They've earned the experience. Now they know what to do. They now know what it means to obviously lose a point at the Emirates, because Arsenal lost a trophy because of the games that they dropped points at the Emirates, losing to Aston Villa, 3 points lost, losing 4 points against Tottenham Hotspur and Fulham. Those are 7 points that would have gone ahead to take Arsenal's tally to like 96 points, and they really had to do the needful. So I believe that all what Arsenal has to do is to sign those players, but they are not dependables. I tell you, they are not dependables of this side. And Arteta has shown you that he's willing to play Zinchenko onto the left back position of Arsenal, and that is really a very huge message sent to everyone, because he has other players that can be played there. But Zinchenko came in through and scored a goal, and I tell you, in the game that Arsenal is going to be playing next Saturday, be rest assured that a player known as Zinchenko is going to be starting on the left back for the club of Arsenal, and it will depend on how he plays, maybe against Lyon. And we all know to it that he is really an injury-prone player. He might get an injury. Maybe Carafiori will get a goal. But I tell you, Arsenal can really take its time signing players, right? But I know that they're really working a lot to do the needful. Then I'm having Moses Henry Aradi. I wish you could talk about France versus Spain and how those teams are selected, and why did Uganda Cranes didn't represent us. What rank is Spain after enjoy all this holiday? So, France versus Spain, you're talking about the game of the Olympics, right? France versus Spain. So, France versus Spain. I think you're talking about the Olympics, right? Spain have gone ahead to beat them in extra time, 5-3, I think it was going to end in penalties, right? And when you look at Spain, Spain is the new force. And to show you that it's the emerging force in all this, they've gone ahead to win all the tournaments, right? They have the Euros, they're winning the Olympics, and I tell you, there is one that England won, but Spain had gone ahead to be beaten in the final, right? So Spain is everywhere, and they're really doing some great business as a team, and they're really moving on well. For France, those players have also been in the same age bracket, but reaching to a final and losing to Spain is also a very successful achievement, But the worst thing is that the manager that has been behind them has already gone ahead to be given a a national team job to manage the team of Wales, and he has gone ahead to throw in the towel, and that is really very bad for the side of for the side of France, and that means they're obviously going to be getting in a different manager altogether. But for Spain, the team that won the Euros, almost 70% of those players have been managed by that manager of Spain, ever since they commenced doing all what they really had to do, right? But nothing is really going to stop you. Nothing's really going to stop Spain from dominating the world football. That is it. Even when you're going in the World Cup, you are going to see how they're going to dominate, because they are getting in more and more and more players. And Lamine Yamal, 2 years from now, because that's when you're going to be playing the World Cup, is going to be more threatful than any other player alive. You understand? He's really going to be a threat than any other player can even talk about. Nico Williams will. You get? And the only thing that Spain has to obviously pray for is them to get in a young striker. That is it. Because Monreal is there. The manager doesn't trust him. He trusts Morata. The good thing is that Morata went ahead to deliver in the Euros. We expect that in the World Cup he will do so before he obviously hangs up his boots on the national team. So Spain has to get in a new player, young striker. Let me see, Guiu. I want to know, Guiu is Spanish, right? He's Spanish and he's 18 years of age, and I believe if at all he can be well handled at Chelsea, he can obviously be one of those players to put in a very big shift. And last season he played 3 games in the La Liga with 1 goal, 2023-2024 Champions League, 2 games and 1 goal, meaning that he's in at Chelsea and I think he's really going to have to find himself on the score sheet. And I don't know whether they're going to keep him here, but I believe they're obviously going to really take him to the farthest, where most of you really believe he's going to be reaching. Now, if I told Guy you can do them the due diligence and obviously become that good player, I tell you what, he will obviously become that player that Spain need. And if I told him Guy, I would have gone ahead to find a club that's going to be getting me ample playing time, because by getting him ample playing time, Guy would have gone ahead to find himself in a position of leading that line of Spain in the World Cup of 2026, because this manager believes in youngsters, right? He believes in those young players. So Spain is really great. And why did the Uganda Cranes never represent? Obviously, it's a qualification. It's a qualification that you have to go there and really represent. And that's why the likes of Morocco, Egypt, is it Nigeria? I think we take like 4 teams, right? So to go to the Olympics, there is, I think the All-African Games, there is a level you're supposed to reach at, something that we even failed, I think, to go to the All-African Games, if at all I'm not mistaken, right? And we need to obviously have a better squad next time for Uganda to represent. I think for me, Spain's supposed to be number 1. They have the Euros. They've won the Olympics. What else are they really waiting for to rank them number 1? I think Argentina, all right. Argentina has all what it takes to obviously be number 1, because they've won the World Cup. They won the Copa America. I think they're supposed to be the first, and then Spain's supposed to be second. That is it. But you might find the ranking when Belgium is ahead of Spain. Things are really very, 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 very perturbing. Joseph Chintu, how can Arsenal miss Pedro Neto? Chintu from USA. That's what I told you, that they are not willing to obviously go in for these high-end players. If you start with Ricardo Carafiori as your opening signing, that means for every player you're going to sign is going to be in that range of 40 to 40 million euros, right? And you see to it that Merino is 35. You might see Arsenal going for the player who is like 40 or 30, depending on what decision is going to be taken by the board, And this is where I worry about the deal of Gyökeres, because if you are in for Victor Gyökeres, then you are not supposed to obviously come in and really tell us that you are really getting the right money or a player with the right value for money. You get? Because if Arsenal is spending that money, that means they're not going to go ahead, because you saw it very well on the player called Pedro Neto. It's 63 million euros that Chelsea have gone ahead to pay. And it's all about It's all about 60 million euros guaranteed, and it's 60 million euros guaranteed, and what else? 60 million euros guaranteed plus 3 million euros of add-ons. You understand? That's Arsenal for you. Sorry, that's Chelsea for you. And they went ahead, obviously, agreed like that. And I think Arsenal were like, we cannot obviously go in for that because they've been in talks with the agent, you know? They've been in talks with his agent, that is George Mendes, you know? So I think Arsenal are not going to buy a player beyond 50 million euros this summer transfer window. That is it. And that can send you in a worrying state if at all you are a Victor Gyökeres person that wants him to sign for the club of Arsenal. Then Alhagi Williams, why is Arsenal not fast-tracking the signature of Mikel Merino? I've told you, they have the deal in their control because Mikel Merino is really having what we call 1 year left on his contract, and the player has chosen Arsenal. He has wanted to turn around at the clubs, and they're into negotiation. A fee has been agreed, but Arsenal wants to really dictate onto how they're gonna complete that deal because Real Sociedad is in the position of weakness and Arsenal is in the position of strength. You get? That's why the deal is really delaying. But I believe that if there was competition for this player, I think Arsenal would have gone ahead to act a little bit faster. That's what I think. Ronald Sowe. We don't need to sign too many players because we have a good team. Already Merino and Gyökeres will take this squad to another level. I believe that a player on the right wing is really needed, unless otherwise you tell me that Arsenal are really willing, Arsenal are really willing to put in the required shift altogether. And what's the shift required? The shift required is all about getting Fabio Vieira to compete with Bukayo Saka. I believe if that's the reason as to why they let Pedro Neto go to the side of Liverpool, it can really bear fruits at the end of the season because we've gone ahead to see to it that even in the game of Bayern Leverkusen, Arteta played Fabio Vieira into that position. And let's wait and see in the game that Arsenal are really gonna play him in that position. And the moment he does that, it will be a confirmation that they want him to be playing that side into the mix. Now, when we talk about Tumuijuche Edwin, morning brother, all right, morning. Then there is another guy called Robert. Does Dortmund and Bournemouth also want Edin Ketia? Thanks for the update, watching you at the heart of Uganda, Kampala. Now, obviously, after Bournemouth have gone ahead to lose Solanke to the side of Tottenham Hotspur, they'll obviously have to go in for replacement. And by the way, if you've gone ahead to sell a player like Solanke, let me see, how much has Solanke crossed for from Bournemouth to the side? Let me check here a little bit. Solanke to Spurs. Solanke, right? They've gone ahead to pay £65 million. Now, if Arsenal need 30, why don't you obviously get that money? You get off 30, you remain with 35, and I think there is a portion that might go to Liverpool, right? So, I believe it really works out best, and it gives you the best of everything possible into the mix, right? So, I think it's one of those moments that we have to wait for and really look at on how Edin Ketia is really gonna go. But Bournemouth are really interested in a player. I tell you this, Bournemouth are really interested in a player of this caliber and quality. Let's all really admit that. And Nketiah can go to Bournemouth. And I think Bournemouth can come in through and really offer Arsenal a better deal. And I think Marseille needs obviously act fast because they haven't gone ahead to show what we call sheer seriousness in signing this player, because you can't come out and really say that you want to see to it that you pay out close to, is it 20 million euros for Edin Ketia? Yet a team can offer 40. I tell you, all can really happen. You get? For Dortmund, I don't think so, because they have Sebastian Haller and and Girassi, right? Then let's go to another guy. He goes by the names of Kasande Ben. Well done, my brother. All right. Samuel from Nigeria, the first one of the people to become members of this channel, has said, good morning, David. Watching you from Nigeria. Well done for the good job, David. Thank you. Well done for obviously becoming one of the first people to become members of our YouTube channel. Then Brian Walter, sorry, I mean difficult start of the season. With what I saw against Leverkusen, Arsenal is going to be on fire this season. Yeah, they're going to be on fire. That's a given. Arsenal is really going to be on fire, and I don't see any team that's going to stop Arsenal. That is it, you know? Unless otherwise, injuries really interrupt what they are really supposed to be doing. But I tell you what, if they really keep most of their players fit like they did last season, they're really going to be the best competitors into this game of football. Then we are having Robert. I'm sure will sign Gyökeres this transfer. That depends on the guy known as Edin Ketia leaving. If Edin Ketia doesn't leave, forget about the guy. Now, there is a player that is on market and is known as Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich, French international. Fabrizio Romano breaking the story. Bayern are now open to Kingsley Coman exit on an initial loan with the buy clause. Bayern need outgoings to complete new signings, and Coman's one of those club top earners. It's concrete possibility, as Sky Sports Germany went ahead to report. Coman one of the big names for the final 3 weeks, and now that means he has gone ahead to join the list that has the following people: 1, Mazrui, Matthias De Ligt, you get, and Leroy Sen, and this guy. Now, why are they really willing to really move on this guy? I believe they're willing to move on this guy because it's really all over the world that there is no way he's really going to be getting ample playing time at the side of Bayern Munich, and he really earns a lot of money. When you look at the wages that he earns weekly, you get, at Bayern Munich, he's at, oh my God, does Kingsley Coman earn this money at Bayern Munich? Oh my God. Guys. Per week, the guy earns huge amounts of money. He earns 326,000 euros, 923. That's the amount of money the guy earns. He really earns a lot of money, you get? And there is no way you can really be having a player in your squad earning this amount of money when he's not among the first players obviously come on and really start into your team. So I think Bayern are really doing a very good job to obviously show him the exit door and obviously getting in players that can do the needful. And now we are waiting for who is the suitor to obviously sign this player. And I'm like, all right, you have to give it the right confidence, you know, and he'll obviously get to where he deserves to be. That is it. But this guy is really one of a kind. I love him. Though recently he has been really having some problems of injuries, but I know he's really one of the kind that you'll obviously want to have in your team. And I believe serious teams are really going to get him on. And I believe that Italian Serie A teams might come in through and obviously put in a shift. Now, let's obviously get into the story of Kai Havertz as the story of Kingsley Coman develops further. And we have Arteta on Kai Havertz and Leandro Trossard defoliating effectively. Devotailing effectively, right? Now, what we have right now is coming in through from the man himself, known as Arteta. He said, you have to be very sensitive, 1, to read the information that the players are giving you individually, the chemistry they have with the unit, how things flow, one side and the other side. It's certainly something that we can still develop, especially on our left side. Those combinations are giving us options. They are all really, really good players, so the competition is quite big there. So, the competition is really big, but I tell you, Arsenal this time round are really going to be enjoying themselves to the fullest. And let me tell you, no one is really going to stop them from obviously becoming the people they really want to be into the mix. And Arsenal is not the usual team that has always going to hate to be. Kai Havertz has going to hate to put in a very huge shift that most of you are like, he should be the one leading the line on Gabriel Jesus. But Arteta is like, I can obviously start Havertz in the mid of the park. Then I obviously take Jesus off and let him lead the line like he did against Bayern Leverkusen. And he went ahead to obviously score those beautiful goals into the mix. Now, Henry Moses, how does Coman play in relationship with Nico Williams? I think Coman is having the experience. And if I tell I'm Arsenal, if I'm to choose out of the two, I go with Kingsley Coman. That is it. Because what now Arsenal need are known raw diamonds. Because I believe Nicholas Williams is still a raw diamond. The same applies to likes of Lamine Yamal. They're still raw diamonds. And all you need right now is a player, Kingsley Coman, who has ever going to hit to score a goal in the Champions League final to obviously see Bayern Munich beat the side of PSG in 2020. You understand? That's what Arsenal need, because if you're talking about the youngsters, they are there. Sago Jr., Lewis is there, Nwaneri is there, and there are very many other exciting players, the Salahs of this world, that Arsenal do have. The problem Arsenal is really having is all about their players that are really lacking experience, right? So I believe I would rather choose Coman other than Nico Williams. That is it. Then Adewale Aradi, good job, but I don't think this Arsenal hierarchy are serious. Other teams are busy buying players while we are busy sending scouting to watch players many times instead of sealing the deal. I told you the reason. Arsenal believe they have a squad that can win them a trophy. That is it. So these other players they're bringing in are like, they're going to really take some time to really hit the ground running into their team. It has been evident on how Mikel Arteta is going to obviously deal with the situation of the guy called Carafiori, Last season, most of the signs brought in through the Declan Rice says, the Julian Timbers, Kai Havertz, he got them straight into the team in the preseason, but this guy hasn't gonna hate to play any game for the club of Arsenal. That shows you that Arteta is like, let's take our time. Brian Walter, Rokani, do you have any idea of this wonder kid from Brazil that is linked to Arsenal, Gabriel Carvalho? The guy is a replica of Neymar. I will so much celebrate if we can sign the kid. Now, right now, Arsenal's mission is not signing youngsters. Arsenal's mission is really getting in complete articled players to obviously take them to the next level. That is it. And the side of Arsenal, I understand they can deal in that player, but that guy is going to be expensive, I tell you. At that age, it's going to be expensive, meaning that why don't you get that money and really strengthen your squad? Because very many wonder kids are obviously going to be showing up, and doesn't mean that even if you're a wonder kid, you're obviously going to make it when you obviously hit your 20s or 20 or your mid-20s. You understand? So for me, the advice I would give for Arsenal is, however much Carvalho is really good, don't fall for that. First, strengthen your side. Joseph Chintu, where are the pickpocketers picked from the street to invade the Arsenal players? I went ahead to see that story, but I need to do more research about it on how it went ahead to happen when they're really having dinner, ahead of the game of Bayern Leverkusen, I think. So I'll have to do more research about it, and I'll come and really throw more light about it. But I also read about it, but I need to know or really get more clarity about it. Talk about Chido compensation. All right, Arsenal and Manchester United are really in talks to obviously find a compensation for Chido Obi Martin, right? Because it is written all over the world that when you really sign a youngster from a player, from a team even on a free, when there is no huge transactions of money, obviously you have to sit down and really agree onto the amount of money you're supposed to be paying that player. You understand? So Chido Obi Martin is one of those that's going to obviously become a hot topic to be discussed about, and he has going to obviously complete his medical, and they are negotiating onto that deal, and that story has been really making rounds all over the world. So let's wait and see how that pans out, but I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below. Continue to subscribe and to continue to obviously do the due diligence of really buying super chats and becoming members to this channel. It's only, I think, $3 a month. $3 a month is not something much. You can as well become a member. So guys, I mean, is Man United going to pay some money to Arsenal for Chido? Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. Arsenal, United has to pay Arsenal some amount of money, but they have to sit down and really agree on it. That is it. So, guys, thank you very much for obviously watching in through. I sign out for now. See you later, and I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. The Muslims, may Allah protect you abundantly. I'm really going to be returning 3 hours from now. I'm going to be streaming live again as we talk more Arsenal news and other clubs into the mix. Ciao, ciao. It's a 5-finger salute. You guys continue to subscribe. We want to hit 30,000 subscribers in a nick of time. Do the due diligence and the rest will be history. Remember, we are powered by none other than Mono Gadgets. Mono Gadgets are dealers in phones, right? Are dealers in phones, brand new laptops. They also deal in what we call what is it called, like they also deal in used phones and used laptops from the UK. Contact them on +256 70 99 88 6655. Sorry, it's +256 70 99 88 665. You know, they'll sell you any phone you want, and they can even do deliveries for people in the diaspora. It's okay for you. You can send them money and they can really surprise your loved one with a phone or a laptop into the mix. So go on TikTok, search for them. Mono Gadgets is the place to be, and they'll feed you with the best of the best that you want. Brian Water, lastly, he's rated £20 million. We can bring him up like we did with Martinelli. I don't think that Martinelli went in for £20 million. Let me check here. Martinelli transfer fee to Arsenal. You get? I want to Arsenal. How much did Arsenal pay? Arsenal paid only £6 million. You understand? £6 million. If you tell me that that player is going to go for £6 million, I say it's okay. Let Arsenal sign the player. But at £20 million, guys, I'm going to do a video about that guy. I'm going to do a video about him, by the way. You know, I'm going to be doing a video about that guy in the morning and really enlighten more about this, because it doesn't make sense of really getting in a raw talent, you know, whose ceiling is not known on whether he'll obviously turn out to be a better player or not. Yet you can use that £20 million and add it onto the money you used to sell Edin Ketia and get in Jokares. You get? So I believe Arsenal can do better. Adewale, I believe we have a squad that can win a league, but we are lacking a piece to complete the task, which is a striker. Not really. You people, you wait when Arsenal starts on the 16th. The number of goals that Arsenal is going to be scoring are really going to be immense. You know, they are going to be immense, you know. And I tell you, it's all about Arsenal getting in Merino, getting in a right winger, you get, and really getting players that can really create chances for your number 9. Because even if you play Trossard as a number 9, he has shown us that he has the potential to bury those chances. And that's what you need in number 9. Meaning that the problem at Arsenal has been the creativity has been low for the number 9, right? But if at all they find it okay to get in a player who does the needful as leading the line is concerned, a lot is really going to change. And I tell you what, everything will be okay. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rokani David is my name. I'm out finally, guys. See you 3 hours from now. I'm going to be scheduling a live. You're going to be talking football. Seriously. We out. Bye-bye.